Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while since I posted anything, and I just haven't had much to say really. I was trying very hard to get a lot of rest over the sort of holiday season, because I find Christmas really quite stressful actually. I find it quite draining. I like seeing family and going to all these dinners and things and that, and it's all very nice, but when you're quite introverted naturally, which I am, it can leave you feeling quite drained, and that social battery just gets absolutely obliterated. And I need to sort of have a few days to myself, just reading my books and watching my films, and just sort of chilling, listening to music, all that kind of stuff. All those well-being stuff that are really, really important, actually. That I highly encourage people to do. You have to have an outlet. You have to be able to recharge that battery. But yeah, a few things I want to talk about today. I've been thinking a lot about sort of word magic, and because magic is bound up in words, really, a lot of it. Um, and I've sort of I've talked about this a little bit before, but within therapy, one of the things, to me, what Jung said is the main goal of therapy is to individuate on this, become that complete individual. And what that involves is a lot of tearing down of the stories that we've told ourselves, or not that we've told ourselves, that we've picked up from others sometimes as well, and identities that we've been given by other people because of the messages we've received, often in childhood, but not always. Our whole life is full of messages and words, and the thing that springs to mind with me, to me at the moment, is all this constant diagnosis that's happening, especially since the pandemic. It's like every single person now has ADHD. Every single person now is autistic. These are words and definitions, they're spells. And if you tell yourself you're broken, in fact, a lot of the work I do with people is that same thing. It's breaking down these word spells that they've hexed themselves with, or society has hexed them with. And that's why, if you've been watching my videos for a long time, or if you are aware, the first sort of 17 videos I did that were called the Consciousness Rising series, most of it was on mind control, because it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. We're living in a sea of mind control, and I wanted to break down as much as I could different forms of it, so people could, if they become aware of it. Because when you become aware, the amazing thing is, once you're aware of it, you can't be controlled anymore. You understand it. That's why I've never said to throw away your TV like some of these truthers do. Fucking throw away your TV, blah 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 blah. Because you can actually learn from it. And sometimes, emotional control is not always a bad thing, because if you've ever watched a movie that brought you to tears, then you've been emotionally controlled. However, that's quite beautiful. See what I mean? But yeah, going back to therapy, stuff like that. There's a concept in EFT called the writing on our walls, and what you do with people, because it's an energetic therapy, you're trying to rewrite the subconscious patterns that people have picked up from other people. So, say for instance, when they were 7, 8 years old, they got shamed and they were told they were no good. They might carry that for the rest of their life. Say, for instance, they were not very good at maths. This is just a hypothetical example. And the teacher says, oh, you'll never be good at maths. You just can't grasp it. The child can then take that message or that word spell, and it becomes an identity. So what you're trying to do in therapy is to loosen that up, or break it, and actually realize that, this is just a message that you received from someone. Word spells are everywhere. And the other one I know I've mentioned this before, especially in my the video I did on psychiatry, because I've got a huge problem with psychiatry, as you know, because I'm all for consent, and I want to talk about that a bit as well, because therapy must be by consent. If it is not by consent, I'm not doing it. And this goes for, I work in schools with quite young children, in fact, very young children. I work with teenagers, and in schools, the process where they become referred for therapy is that they're always referred from someone else. It's very, very rare. It does happen that, a child will refer themselves for therapy, especially when they're very young in a primary school or something. Happens more with teenagers, but often it's been suggested by other people. So what you have to do straight away is, I explain to everyone involved that I will not ever, ever force anyone into that room with me. Ever. I don't care how young they are. I don't care if they need it in the eyes of the parent or whatever. They may well be able to, but if they're not going to engage in it and they don't want it, it's never, ever, ever going to work. Now, that is the problem with psychiatry, because psychiatry is hierarchical, and it's because the therapy I do, I'm not hierarchical at all. It's two human beings meeting together, and let's see where we can journey and see how I can help, if in any way, shape, or form, or the relationship. In psychiatry, it's all about control and drugs. And, you know, I've gone into that before, but the message, going back to this writing on the walls thing and the word spells, that is this chemical imbalance in the brain. And Jerry Marzinski talked, I was watching a few of his videos before Christmas, and he talks about this as well. And I just want to sort of bring it up again. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance in the brain. It's an absolute, complete load of shit. And they've invented that to basically sell drugs. But what that message sends to people, and I've had to undo this with people, you know, adults, they come to therapy and they're like, well, you know, I'll see how this goes, but, you know, I can't change because I've got this chemical imbalance in my brain. So can you see how that's happened? They've been told by an authority figure. That's what I fucking don't believe in. Be very, very careful with authority figures, all of them. You know, if authority figures do a lot of the most damage to people, whether it's a school teacher, a parent, someone in the family, or, I don't know, a fucking minister, let's not go there, or a boss, anyone in a hierarchical position can do a lot of damage, and has done a lot of damage. And Alice Miller talks about this a lot. That's why I like her work a lot. So yeah, this chemical imbalance in the brain is absolute nonsense. It's a word spell, very, very cleverly. You know, you go to the psychiatrist, they tell you, oh, you know, you've got depression because it's a chemical imbalance in your brain. No. We all struggle in life. We all have tests and challenges, and that's what makes us stronger. So we shouldn't run from these challenges and tests. You know, and I know some people that have been through absolute hell, you know, and back, but they come out of it stronger if they can just persevere. You know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's absolutely true. I mean, I even think of inspirational sort of quotes from films and movies, and that's, again, we could go into archetypes, we could talk about all that kind of stuff. You know, who inspires you? What kind of characters do you identify with? That's a big piece of work you can do with people, or do with yourself. Also, you can fix yourself without therapy. Or fix, I don't even like that term, but you can do self-improvement without therapy. I said that to someone once. I was like, she was like, oh, you know, my daughter, she reads books on psychology because she wants to kind of work herself out. I was like, that's brilliant. And she was like, oh, I wonder if she needs therapy. She might not. She might find all the answers in her reading, researching, or self-reflection, you know. But yeah, going back to movies, there's a great quote in one of the Batman movies, actually. I think it's Batman Begins, where Alfred tells Bruce Wayne, he said, you know, and it keeps going back to his childhood and this cave, this bat cave that he fell into. He's like, why do we fall, Master Bruce? So we can learn to get back up, is the answer. And I take quotes like that very seriously, because that hit me like a ton of bricks when I heard that, because that's true of life. We get knocked for shit. We get torn down. We get, you know, it could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be you lose your job. You know, we suffer losses all the time through life, but we struggle all the time. But struggle is what makes you individual. Struggle is what makes you strong. So yeah, I'm all about that. But yeah, just a mishmash today. But the main theme I suppose I wanted to get across is this writing on the walls thing. Think about the messages that you are seeing around you, and think about your childhood as well. Like, you know, did your parental figures and adults in your life did they help build you to be strong and resilient, or did they tell you that, or was you told you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, and you took that on as an identity? I, for years, thought I couldn't do any academic work. I thought I was useless. I couldn't learn things, and I had to undo that shit and realise that I could. So yeah, we do need to individuate. It's part of life, and it's a beautiful process. But yeah, I have got loads more videos planned. I'll get to them at some point. But yeah, anyway, I better go to work now. See you later.